first. I didn't even see Facebook.
Oh, yeah, it's down there.
What? There it is. Yeah, we gotta go to each one of them. First, we gotta go to this one. Okay, so they got us live already in living color. Oh well, maybe not. Hopefully, you're gonna go through the usual procedure. What you gonna do, Miss Lady? Not gonna go through our promo. We're going live now. Okay, we are live here, live here. Sorry for running late, but that's what happened, folks, when you are basically ravaged by the the strands and the strains of that virus called COVID. And one time, my wife and I have to admit, and hello, welcome to taking the journey too, for at the same time.
And hope you're well.
Yeah, I hope you're well. We used to think COVID was kind of like a myth and something that people kind of made up. But one thing is for sure, we got caught. We got caught. So even though we're saying welcome to the Taking the Journey Together show, and last week we couldn't be with you, we're glad to be alive, to be here today. But we were really down about 2 weeks ago. Shane,
Well,
you want to
yeah,
tell them a little
last
bit
week.
because we're kind of running late, but COVID kind of makes you kind of run late about things in life. Shane, you want to go ahead? I'm going to get some
Yeah,
things
that
set up.
was it was not a journey that we really wanted to take together. So, but unfortunately, Craig had it worse than I did, and the fortunate side of that is I was able to take care of him a little bit, not as well as I would have liked to, but I mean, the headache, the flu symptoms, the no energy, he's still trying to get back to normal. Yeah, I'm pretending that I am, but I was never down as bad as he was. I'm stuck with a cough that I generally do not have. So it's one of those things. If you can avoid it, please do. That's one of those things that I don't know how to what to say. The thing that got me with it was the fact that I have been back in the classroom since July or August of 2020. Every day, not one day out. Kids with COVID, kids without COVID, you know, face to face and virtual. 2.5 years, and we get it on vacation
At a campground.
at a campground where where we're coming in contact with very very few people, and this is when we got it. And I'm like, for real?
Yeah, yeah. Well, we got some very good things still to talk to you about because we survived. We're surviving.
Yeah.
Many of those who got sick, we've got some people that we met at a campground that they're basically from out of town because their daughter got sick, had it twice, and now she's in the hospital, and they're not knowing how it's going to go. And the father basically said they got it. He got it. He said he was close to going to the hospital too. So it all depends. Doesn't seem to discriminate, and plus at the same time, you never know who it's going to hit and how far it's going to hit you as for taking your energy drain. even with shots or not. Most important thing I will say is this: if you at least cover yourself, mask. We kind of felt what happened. We took our time out to go to Wally World more than once and didn't cover ourselves whatsoever, which usually she wants me to do, and we didn't do. So we've probably figured we got it by Wally World because that's the closest place that we're
The
around
only
people
place that we were
where
around a lot of
where
people.
we're at. All I can say is if it wasn't for the many vitamins and foods that we eat, that really has everything to do with keeping your immune system up. Though she has, some what is it, asthma? What is it?
Oh, just allergies.
Allergies, and I have sinus problems. So, one of favorite places where this virus loves to attack your respiratory system, and
Hmm.
it certainly was not cool. Again, energy was really taken down. Didn't sleep well whatsoever. Had aches all over, and that kind of feeling of feeling that hey, life is good. Let's get up and do things. Even when you're older, you may have something left of that. I didn't feel like doing nothing. I'll use the word feel like doing shit because that's how I felt, and didn't really care from that end. I mean, that it was definitely it definitely drains the life out of you from that particular end. Well, we moved on. We survived that one. Put it on our list. Not that we really want it. We know some people have had it more than once. But the immune system, has given, made it. As a creator in this is kicked in, that it's done its job, and hopefully it will help out the next time around. You can tell a little bit right now. We're kind of breathing not as well as we'll like to from that end, but it's nowhere near what it was before. Was it?
Oh no, not
No.
even. And the thing of it is, if you get it, just rest.
Yes.
Yeah, don't try to play it off and pretend it's not there. Rest. Give it, fight it off that way. That
Plenty of water. Plenty of
yes,
water. I mean, drink a lot of water.
yes.
Um, there is what's that stuff we talked about today to take too that helps
Uh,
dry up the mucus.
Mucinex.
Mucinex, the extra strong yeah, thank
Mucinex.
you. You said that
Yes.
better than me. Still a little foggy, really. I mean, when they say that you have foggy thinking, it really does
Hmm.
make you have some foggy thinking. Dreams were kind of real crazy too. I remember a young man by the name of Jamal was talking about that.
And
And
then
was
you
that?
your sleep pattern gets messed up because
Yeah.
you're deep sleeping at odd times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's yeah, it's no joke, no picnic.
No,
So
no, my vertigo's still a little off too, but we're pushing through. We're going to make it through. And I think the most important thing is that we took that journey together, and that was one of those journeys, not adventure that we really wanted to do, but we did take that journey together, and good or bad. Sometimes times when we just didn't talk much to one another and didn't look at
couldn't.
which one, yeah, exactly, and really didn't even feel like wanting to talk or connect with one another. And food, by the way, folks, food was not our friend.
No.
It was nothing to do with taste. Just who did not feel like food was something we should be eating or
Didn't have a taste. Wasn't hungry.
yeah, yeah,
That was
exactly,
the thing.
exactly, yeah,
I forced us to eat something because I felt like we still needed that nourishment, but it was kind of like soup, and we were only eating like one bowl of soup a day.
yeah,
It was,
exactly,
but drinking the water.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We had probably a gallon of water a day.
Yeah, please drink the water.
Yeah,
Make sure it's some good water. But if you don't really like
yeah.
water, I mean, maybe you may want to put some flavor in it, but not much. But you're going to need to take some water. After you get some water, one of the things that we heard was make sure you get some fruits and vegetables in you.
Hmm.
You got to get that fiber back in you. There's no doubt about it. The fruits bring that kind of natural sugar you need because your energy will be seriously zapped.
Yeah.
So you're going to need that. The vegetables help with the fiber too and bring out all the other minerals you need. So those are the two things you probably knew. You're going to need it at least a good. I won't say 2 weeks. I'm gonna
Yeah.
let your folks right now. Two
Yeah,
weeks
we're
minimum is
at
what you're going to need for some
week
kind of
2
rest.
right about now.
Exactly,
Um,
exactly. And we were talking to that one gentleman out there who had it. And his daughter had it. And he said, man, it took him about a month.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked to
Yeah.
someone else today,
Yeah.
and she said it was about a
And
month
she's still
before.
dealing with it
Yeah, yeah.
because of her asthma.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
and then there is, the other thing that you really want to pay attention to when you were talking about the fruits and vegetables,
Mm-hmm.
um, that will help keep you hydrated too.
Mm.
Because with the temperature, I mean, I I don't know. I don't remember if I broke 100, but maybe once or something. But
Yeah, you did.
you were over 100 for a day and a half,
Yeah, I do
or
remember it.
for
And I
or
and I
two
and I did
days.
it the mom's old fashioned way, which you was kind of tripping on, where you put, mom would have us put cold
Cloths on your
cloths on her head with
yeah
ice in it. I'll be honest with
yeah
you. And sometimes if the temperature got too high, she'd put all cold towels all over her
hmm
chest,
yeah.
just cool us down. We'd be shaking and shivering like a skeleton. You can hear our bones. We were bony enough anyway because we were poor, so you can hear it clank, 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 clank.
If I had thought about it, I would have gone to
What
my grandmother's
was that?
fever remedy.
Yeah, which was to drink some damn whiskey
Exactly, a
and then
hot
sweat
toddy.
it out
It
at night
was
like you ain't
it,
got
it
no
was
sense.
it was a little bit of some kind of liquor and what was it? Honey, lemon,
Hmm.
and water, and it was and she would
You
get it
were,
hot.
no wonder why sometimes you got no brains.
I know.
Scrambled your daggone brains.
Exactly.
I remember in school, doing the sports time of our life. Whenever we came down, there was no virus back then. Well, not that like that,
Yeah.
but whenever we had a flu, we always did that stupid remedy. Cover up a whole bunch of covers, work out real hard, drink some alcohol, and sweat it out of us.
It-
And you swear in 1 or 2 days it was gone. We back
yeah.
on
Well,
our feet.
well, the
But
hot toddy was just to make you sleep,
oh, okay.
but the rest of the extra blankets and
Uh
everything,
huh.
that would have you sweat it out. Your mother would freeze it out.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
grandmother would sweat it out, but then the first thing the next morning, what would she give you?
Uh,
Orange juice.
no,
Yeah.
no. We would either get Robin Tussa,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Tussa. You know, remember Mr. Tussa?
Robitussin.
Uh
Yeah.
huh. Or what's the other one that was dark that I hated?
Um.
Come on now.
Oh gosh, I'm not sure. There was a bunch of them.
Oh man, I
There was.
remember for it was. I hated it too. We had to
Yeah.
drink that down from
Yeah.
that end.
Robitussin was not good.
No, no. And then
Um.
remember the Vicks we had to put on
Oh
the
yeah,
chest.
the Vicks vapor
Uh huh.
vapor rub that would go on your chest, and then if we were really
It
congested,
would put it right
right
underneath
under
your
your
nose.
nose, and it would always burn because you'd
Hmm.
been blowing your nose so
Yeah,
much it
your
was
nose be
half raw.
red as can be. Sometimes it
Yes.
would, your nose would be bleeding. I remember
Yeah.
my nose bleeding many a times
Oh, see,
because of blowing and blowing,
yeah,
not coming out anyway.
blow it raw, but
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah, those are just some things that and fruits and vegetables
yeah,
absolutely, but break the temperature, break the fever first as soon as you can.
well, you did it your way. I have to admit, you sweated many times underneath those covers, and I took them off you the second I didn't like it. But they just made
Because I
and
was cold.
what are you?
I
What, when
had
you got a
I
fever, you're gonna be cold. You're
Yeah,
gonna
I
feel
was
cold.
shivering. I was
I
so
know you
cold.
was. But remember, we saw the CDC gave this overall survey of overall the years of this COVID. And they were showing that women don't get it as bad at the beginning
Mhm.
as men do,
Yeah.
and that's what happened between me and you. I mean,
Mhm.
I got it
Yeah.
worse than you did.
Right.
But they
And
say,
first.
and first, exactly, and then in the long run, women will still have some more symptoms
Mhm.
where guys won't. But they do say that long term of memory fog and feeling sometimes that you're just not quite there
Yeah.
is something to sadly look forward to from that end. But
Mhm.
we got to move on to life. I always say, what's our motto now?
We're gonna relate.
Come on, have you forgot that?
Ooh, no, we are gonna relate. It doesn't matter what your mother, father, sister, brother, or even Jesus says. Even during COVID, you're gonna relate. Uh, but at taking the journey together,
Yes,
we want to encourage people to take the journey in a balanced way.
yes,
And when we say balanced, what we mean is in a manner where you start a relationship from the friendship level,
Mm-hmm.
and then from the friendship level,
Mm-hmm.
you build it into a lovership.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get into that committed relationship,
Mm-hmm.
you are in that committed relationship with your friend and your
Mm-hmm.
lover.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how you build
You look
a
like
thriving
when you put your
relationship.
hands together like that. You look like you're rocking a baby in a cradle. That is so funny. That's what you look like. You're rocking a baby. Well, I mean,
Your
caring for
relation,
your relationship
yes.
as if it's very special,
Mm-hmm.
especially special to you, is just that important.
Absolutely.
It's exactly. It's just that important.
Yeah.
So you've
You have
got to be able to
handle it
handle that
tenderly.
and handle it tenderly from that when it comes to your relationship. You've got to go out of your way to make sure you got to make sure that you got to go out of your way to try to say that we are that important together. We
Mm-hmm.
are a couple that feels that what we're doing is an us thing. Now we know that many times we still sometimes feel it's an I thing. It's hard for us to get into the groove of a us thing because we mostly feel at the end it really is just nothing but a I thing, not a us thing. And because of that, then you're going to run into that problem in your relationship where you're not going to necessarily always be on the same page. And if you're not on the same page, then you're going to have a hard time saying, well, hey, this is about me and you from that end. But that's something you got to work on when it comes to a relationship. And one thing's for sure, if both of you are sick, you're going to find out, push come to shove, if this is really a us thing or not. You're going to find out whether it's, you know, about me only or about her, because
Exactly.
somebody is going to feel like I can do something to help, and another was like, man, I don't really give one damn from that end. So push come to shove, you're going to find out both what each other are made of. And that goes to our subject that we're talking about, which is attachment theory. Because during that time when you're going through that COVID, especially if you're in a relationship, you're going to find out push come to shove. Is there any kind of real attachment between the two?
Mm-hmm.
Is one going to bambooski and bail out on you? Or is that other person going to stay around and see if they can help you through it
Or
from that
just
end?
sit and watch you suffer.
Exactly, exactly. So the important thing here is in this case is I would hope that you would not have to go through a COVID time to try to find out to test your relationship to see if your relationship is really a us relationship. But one thing is for sure, what a way to get a test. What a way to get a
Oh
test.
gosh, yes. And the thing of it is, and this is one of the things that I wrote about, we've got like 9,000, and this is me exaggerating. I am the queen of hyperbole, but that we had like a whole bunch of thermometers, not
Mhm.
one on the RV.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's because we never thought whatsoever that the RV would be a problem. Going RVing would ever be a problem that we have. I mean, most
Yeah,
people went during the COVID time. That's what they did. They did RVing and felt the RVing was the time that
it
you're
was
not going to,
safe.
it was safe. Exactly. Who would have thunk that we call it? But that has everything to do because we left and then went again to the Wally world.
Yeah, we brought
So,
that on
I mean,
ourselves.
we kind of brought that on ourselves. I'll
Yeah.
be honest with you from that particular end. Yeah. We bought it on our own self. So we talked about attachment theory, dealing with affection, fondness, sympathy for one another. Do you really have that or what it takes? Do you really have in your relationship that real compassion and connection in your relationship? Are you really charged? Are you really serious about getting involved and being involved in your relationship? um 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 uh, can you feel safe to engage the amount of feelings you have, or is it one of those things where I don't feel that strongly connected whatsoever, and because I don't feel that strongly what's connected and forever, I ain't really into her and I know she ain't really into me.
Right.
And a lot of people who operate from a survival point of view, that's how they are
Yeah.
operating. They basically are, it's you do your own thing, I do my own thing, or you do my thing, and that's how we get along.
And
And
we're
so,
and we're happy because of it.
exactly,
You know.
exactly.
So
Exactly. And we're talking about that attachment theory where there are just people who are like that when they get in a
Mhm.
relationship. They present a relationship dynamics that's linked to their childhood because that's where it all comes from.
Yeah.
That childhood. Maybe you never had a close connection to your mom and dad, and your
Mhm.
mom and dad didn't
Yeah.
have a real close connection to you
Or
because they didn't have a real close connection whatsoever.
yeah.
So they modeled that in a relationship.
Mhm.
You don't really connect. You
Right.
don't really relate.
Right.
Everyone's just really doing their own thing.
And sometimes we rebel against the childhood that we had.
Yeah.
We have these helicopter parents that are hovering all the time, and so we don't want anybody hovering over us. Or we
Mm-hmm.
have, the parent that was distant,
Mm-hmm.
and so we're very clingy. It's that it's but it still stems from the childhood, as you were saying.
Exactly. 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 And it's sad to say some people feel their childhood has no effect on them whatsoever and what they do in life. They kind of feel that when it comes to my childhood, that's when I was a
That
child.
was then,
It
this
was
is
that
now.
then, it ain't now. I'm a grown
Hmm.
adult and it don't affect me whatsoever. And yet when you're all in your feelings, you act just like a child. And
Yeah.
someone else on the other side said, damn, it's like I'm growing up another damn child.
Exactly,
Because
exactly.
because you still stuck like Chuck back in that day, or
Right,
Suzanne,
right.
or Sharon, whatever it may be,
Yeah.
or where you still ain't grown up as of yet from the inside, and it came from that parental side,
Hmm.
and it made it hard for you to connect to people. But you're in a relationship really trying to make that happen.
Right, right. And so, we've got to. That's one of the reasons why it's important to heal. Also.
Exactly. I think we kind of went over some of the
Yeah.
different kind of relationship strategies. If anybody has any questions, please don't feel uncomfortable. Don't feel that any of your questions are stupid because they're not. Please give us some questions or give us some of your statements or give us your story that you have when it comes to the attachment theory, where you in a relationship or you in one now where the other person really ain't feeling you, really not into you, and in turn you're not really feeling them. You don't feel secure, you feel more insecure, whether it's ambivalence or insecure as for anxious,
Hmm.
and that's
Yeah.
what we kind of talked about when we talked about more in detail. And you're like, wow, I don't know if this relationship is what I'm supposed to be in whatsoever.
Hmm.
We'll fight like cats and dog all day.
Yeah.
Or basically, she's quiet as a mouse, or he's quiet as a mouse.
Hmm.
I don't know what's going on when they're in fact, I don't even know when they're in the room.
Right. Or, just the overwhelming personality of the other person is
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, puts you off balance, and you're like, what did I get into? Well, you need to think about that, and you need to realize that what you got into was probably what you were supposed to get into. But
See, you sound like you're talking about yourself now.
no.
Because I know that many times you feel kind of overwhelmed in this relationship when it comes to me, because a lot
Oh
of this
yeah,
information
you're.
and knowledge is something I've studied, something I'm presenting.
Mhm.
You're kind of many times coming along for the ride. It's an enjoyable ride and you learn a
Mm.
lot, but sometimes you feel overwhelmed. And we kind of talked about the
Yeah,
last time in
yeah.
that insecurity ambivalence where you feel overwhelmed in the relationship, you tend to withdraw and isolate in order to feel the process
Mhm.
or not feel the
Yeah, because
process.
you need a
But
moment sometimes.
exactly, you're unable to really maintain that sense of separate self in the relationship. And we find a lot of people in that relationships having that when it comes to someone's very strong in that relationship. I used to hear some women say that I love you so much you'll never know. And they're very strongly connected to you. Or see some people say clinging. And sometimes you get a man who be very strong connected in the relationship, loves his children, loves that wife, and is very strongly connected. Some people say it's clinging. Well, in the relationship theory, the attachment theory, that could be insecure in an anxious way because that person in that relationship is more anxious when it
Mhm.
comes to connecting that relationship, feeling like at all the time this person is ready to leave, the person's not really there. They're having what they call abandonment issues
Exactly.
because their first relationship, being their parental relationship, didn't work out too well. It could be very strongly that they came out of a single parent family where dad wasn't around
Yeah.
and never made the connection, and mom was mostly there. So the feeling of that two parentness in connection to a male, we didn't see that. We didn't
Mhm.
see that as part of the example. And so we may have felt that left outness of not having that parent around and feel like, well, we can do better than what our father did. So I'm going to make sure I do this time around and not the same way, and clean clothes and make sure I connect to that person
Right.
the way my dad didn't seem to do. And then that's the reason why things has happened. Or you might feel maybe it's something I did, sometimes parents or kids do, that I cause this kind
Mhm.
of disconnect in the family. Anywhere it goes, it's not healthy when you carry it into a relationship when it comes to the attachment theory,
Right.
because your insecurity of anxiousness is a fear of being disconnected or abandoned,
Mhm.
and it reaches out for demanding more connection. That
Right.
instinct to connect and merge with another person
Yeah.
can be too quick, it can be too strong, and sometimes the timing is wrong. Again, it could be too quick, it could be too strong, and sometimes the timing is wrong. And I know in our relationship, you have seen that happen with me because I
Mhm.
came out of a single parent family.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And out of that single family, there's there are all those sides. One, that it makes me feel like maybe it's something I did wrong,
Mhm.
or the other side, that feeling because I stayed around with my mom and took care of her, she passed away, and the rest of the kids didn't. What's my sibling didn't. That maybe I can save and make things right, like my dad didn't do in a relationship,
Right.
and then come on too strong.
Right.
Well, that is not a healthy way, because in the first place, that other person may not be secure within their own self to feel comfortable to merge and connect with you anyway.
Mhm.
So how are you going to handle that? You are already off sync, off kiltered, because of your imbalancedness that came from your unhealthiness in your relationship, out of a single parent
Right.
family.
Right.
Okay. That you're carrying in that kind of baggage that will sometimes scare people off in that relationship
Mhm.
and not make them feel comfortable enough for, let me take my time to get to know you. Again, don't get me wrong. The attachment in wanting to connect in a relationship, that's a natural, healthy thing to do in a relationship.
Yes.
Otherwise,
What's the point?
what's the point?
Yeah.
What this relationship is all about?
Yeah.
No, we're talking about, in healthiness is when it's out of balance.
Yeah.
It's going too much. You're getting too radical. And it doesn't help much when you're in a relationship with someone else, kind of like you, who is more ambivalent in this case when it comes to it, because of what has happened before in your
Mhm.
past. No father around, just a mother. So in this particular case, that fatherly kind of figure thing is kind of overwhelming, because your fathers were more seen but not
Yeah,
heard from that end.
they were strong, quiet men.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
And I'm a seen but not a very quiet man.
uh please, you are the bull in the china factory most of the time.
No, no.
Well,
I don't hang
I
around in
mean,
China factories anyway.
I'm saying by comparison. By
I
by
understand that.
comparison, yes.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
They didn't either. China,
I
yeah.
know. No. But I understand what you're saying.
Mhm.
So it causes that problem when it comes to attachment theory, where both of us can be at each other's throat, or be very, at least you opposite and
Mhm.
me coming at
Yeah.
your throat in this
Yeah.
particular
Yeah.
case.
Cuz you're very animated and I'm very stoic, I guess you could say.
No, reclusive, because you keep your mind, your ideas in your head, just as your characters of your books.
Yeah.
You keep them, yeah,
Yeah.
you do.
Yeah.
I mean, I had the same kind of imagination, more scientific in that particular
Mhm.
end, more problematic in features of ideas of gods and goddesses, ideas of aliens, ideas of those things you can't see, especially because in the electronic world, I had to see protons, electrons, things you can't see but
Mhm.
understand they really do exist, and all the forms that came
Yeah.
along with it
Yeah.
from that end.
Which is
But
one of those areas where we connect because of my
hmm
science background.
hmm
I don't know why I didn't write more science fiction than what I
yeah, well, we
did.
both like science fiction, so
Yeah.
that does help us out from that end.
Yeah.
But we're trying to talk and let folks know that the move in that attachment theory, so that you can get more secure, grounded in self, able to move between states of connection and disconnect with ease and eternal safety, is where we're trying to move to, with a balanced and healthy relationship, or thriving relationship. And it's a moving part every day to manage, especially when you have passed that. In turn, you still strongly look at and how you function to one another, because you're trying to attach
Mhm.
in a relationship. Whether you believe it or not, you are still trying to attach.
Yeah.
You're doing it your own way,
Mhm.
what has been taught or you have seen in your family parent background, but you're still trying to attach. And if that's still there, then there's still hope for you in a
Right,
relationship.
right.
When you decide to have no more detachment and you don't care about trying to connect to one another, then attachment theory is out the door
Mm-hmm.
and it ain't gonna work no more. I don't care if you're
Because there
insecure.
is no
I don't care.
attachment.
Exactly. There is none of it.
Yeah, when
It's not
when
gonna
you say
work.
we're done
We're done.
and you mean it,
Stick a fork in it. It's done.
yeah, yeah.
Many people in a relationship like zombies. They're done.
And they
The
just don't
mom can
admit
see
it.
it, dad can see it, everybody can see it. They are done
Yeah,
from that particular. They're
yeah,
walking dead.
yeah.
Wow.
And
Wow.
and oof, that's not good.
No, it's not.
That's not good
No,
at
it's
all.
not. Hey,
And I have been in a detached relationship.
so have I. I think many of us,
Yeah.
when this is our second marriage, when
Mm-hmm.
we went out of our first marriages, we do remember the time where that detachment came.
Yeah.
You were like a walking zombie. You did things in the morning, went past that other dead person. The other dead person looked at you. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
you didn't look at each other.
Yeah.
You went to bed or didn't go to bed with one another, and you had no feelings, no emotions. Both of you were dead to each other,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
But yet you did everything just by route.
Exactly.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, here we go again.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
okay, there's nothing new to talk to you about because you don't want to talk anyway.
exactly.
Then, or it was just like, you're coming home. Or worse yet, time for me to go home.
Yes,
You
or
know,
some would say, I'm not going home.
yeah, yeah,
Some said, and didn't go home
right,
for a long time.
right.
Bar, restaurant,
Hmm.
someone else's home. I
Yeah.
mean, they didn't go home.
And that is not a thriving
No, of
relationship.
course not.
That's not even a surviving relationship.
No, well, a lot of people are
Mm-hmm.
surviving like that on the rope and have been doing that for years
Mm-hmm.
from that particular,
Yeah.
which is sad, very sad. Our last one we want to talk about when it comes to attachment theory
Excuse me.
is the disorganized
Mm-hmm.
theory, oscillating between feeling overwhelmed, threatened, and fear of being abandoned, switch between merge connection and disconnect, unable to ground in the sense of a separate self. I call that folks who are very skittish, off
Yeah.
and on. You ever heard that before?
Yeah.
There are
Sometimey.
sometimey. You said that sometimey. I can
Yeah.
say to you openly, you are definitely not a sometimey. There's no doubt about it. You're insecure and you're ambivalent, no doubt about it. But you're not a
Mm-hmm.
sometimey kind
Yeah.
of sister, kind of woman. You're not
No.
that at all.
No. I I've
Have you ever dated someone who was a sometimey kind of guy?
I have dated. I sometimey is today considered bipolar. And yes, I have. I dated a guy for about a week, and it was I couldn't keep up with it.
Mm,
He was just like, um call me tomorrow at such and such a time, and I called. Why are you calling me now? This is not a good time. Well,
mm-hmm,
why'd you tell me to call you now? Well, no,
mm-hmm,
I never told you to do that.
mm-hmm,
And it's
mm-hmm.
like, okay, fine. I don't need this. We're not married. We're not even on that road.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You can't even get the pleasure of having a ghost
Yeah.
in the relationship where they just ghost you.
Exactly. Exactly. No, it was just too ooh, it was like a roller coaster
Yeah,
ride.
yeah.
And it only lasted like a week. And
Hmm.
that was no.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have to admit that I can't remember of one like that. You could look at me and tell that he wouldn't be in that long at all.
No, you probably wouldn't have made it a
No,
week, you know.
no, no, no. Someone asked that oscillating with me
Hmm.
sometime there. Nah, I
Yeah.
can't deal
No.
with you.
No,
I can't deal with you.
it's not a comfortable place to be, and it's not a fair place to be for
Yeah,
the other person,
yeah.
because you're putting them in a position where they have to read your mind. They have to
Mm-hmm.
read your moods,
Mm-hmm.
and they have to understand that that part of you that you don't even understand probably.
Exactly. Exactly.
So you're asking a lot for
Too much for
somebody
me.
else. Me
Too
too.
much. I mean, if some of them are trying to make me feel guilty over it, I'm like, no, that
Mm-mm,
ain't happening. That's
mm-mm,
not happening. How
no.
can you be sure about making me feel guilty when you ain't even sure about your own damn self?
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I was just getting ready to
What?
say. If
Are
you
you
don't
kidding
know
me?
you, how do you expect me to
I
know
mean,
you?
even if it's a good part of knowing you, that's not a
Mhm,
spiritual part of you. It's better to be knowing yourself as a diverse, excuse
mhm.
me, a sentient in spiritual being, no doubt about it.
Yes.
But even if that, you know yourself more of a what do we call, not a karmic, but ooh, what's the word? Someone who's just not spiritual. I'm not feeling the word right now. Um, e-
No, I that's
you
not.
you will get it anyway.
Yeah.
Even if you're that way, but you're at least comfortable with yourself, at least there's some kind of basis that you can
Hmm.
stand on.
Yeah, you
From that
believe in
end.
something about you.
Exactly, but you know,
Yeah.
a person who's oscillating, and you know, sadly to say, there are a lot of people who are in relationships with when it comes to attachment theory. There are people who are off and on about their fondness, their affection, and sympathy.
Hmm.
Sometimes as strong as can be, and then the next day it's like, I know who you
Who are
are.
you? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're going, what?
Yeah.
What did I do?
Exactly. It's like that person the other day who
Hmm.
were saying that there was something that I was talking about in class one day,
Hmm.
and I talked about how your eggs are how I prepare your eggs.
Hmm.
And I'm like, why would I do that? I don't know what point I was making. He couldn't
Hmm.
remember either, but he said, but I know how to make you some eggs now. You remember that?
Hmm.
That and I'm like, that is one of those things that
Hmm.
shows that connectivity.
Hmm.
But it was an odd situation. But to be able to break someone down to that finite point
Hmm.
when you know that person so well that you can explain something about them, about their likes or their
You
dislikes.
were explaining about how you make eggs for me.
Yeah, you remember
Okay,
he said
how's
that?
that at?
I'm not okay. Here's the thing. I'm not sure what point I was making at that time that he was talking about
So
because,
put you on
but
the spot. You don't know
no,
how
no,
to
no.
make my
Oh,
eggs.
yes, I do know how to make
Okay,
your eggs.
and how's it done?
Your eggs, I put the eggs in a container,
Uh huh.
and then I add the different seasonings that you like,
Uh huh.
and I add just a little bit of milk,
Uh huh.
and I stir them up very well,
Mhm.
and whip them up,
Mhm.
and then I put them in and scramble them,
Well.
or either I can turn them into an omelet. It just
Mhm.
depends.
Well, you're there's no doubt about it. Your creativity and how you cook eggs for me has been to the point that I've been trained enough to eat them and say they're good.
I can
I
also do
I
sunny side up if that's what you want.
how you like that one? Because quite frankly, when I do my eggs on my own, when I wasn't with you in a
Mhm.
relationship, I did them any old way. I didn't pay much attention,
Yeah.
really, from that particular. But I knew how to cook and still know how to
Yeah.
cook. I didn't pay much attention. The appreciation, what I'm trying to say, that you show as you just talked in presenting the way that you present food to me was something you enjoy, and it's part of
Hmm.
your
The way I show love.
well, you show love. Okay,
Hmm.
part of you also to your what did my kids used to say when I wrote, part of my therapy,
Yeah,
part of your therapy
it
dealing with
is.
life and with me.
It definitely is.
I'm a really appreciative. I really am.
Yeah.
So even though I may not have cooked food that way, that same way eggs, the fact that you put your heart and your soul in it the way you do and present it to me, it's always good for me from that particular side. So when you did what you did to explain it to them, hopefully they learned something from their own self, and hope someone else will, do
Yeah.
it. I mean, we
It's
we find out in attachment theory, it's our parents who many times we try, well, sometimes a parent, we are trying to perform like,
mhm.
we're trying to act like. It could be people we see on TV. Mothers know best, fathers know best, and you know them stuff, the Huskables and the rest of
Yeah.
them. We'll use them as examples, mother and father, especially since we may not even came out of one. To try
Exactly.
to either just try to bend or try to make it seem like this is something we can try to live
Mhm.
like, and it may not work whatsoever, but we'll give that a try.
Mhm.
The fact that we have a right to create in our relationship, if it's based on the foundation of friendship, and we understand it's something that's us to be able to do,
Right.
then we can create what we want out of it.
That's the whole.
If that's the whole premises of that
Exactly.
us principle
Yes.
between us making that decision together, because we're grown adults and we can do that.
Mhm. And we are creative beings.
Exactly.
And you so you get the different things that you can work with and that you can go by, and you take those and you mold them into
Hmm.
what works for you as a unit. And so, as we look at the attachment theory here, and there are some places that we can look at and say, you know what, this one we don't even have to worry about. Like the
Hmm.
disorganized, we don't have to worry about that.
Hmm.
That's not something that is a part of our relationship. Is a part of who we are that we have to blend
Mm-hmm.
or work with to get on that level.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the others are insecure, anxious. Okay, well, let's look at that, and let's look
Mm-hmm.
at what we can do to make that easier for one another.
Mm-hmm.
The insecure, ambivalent, how can that be changed? What can you do
Mm-hmm.
to make that different? And it's those types of things that you need to have conversation with
Mm-hmm.
within your relationship. Those kinds of things that make you that help build that strong, thriving relationship, that flourishing relationship.
Exactly, exactly. I want to say real quickly because I know we started late. We don't know how long we have because we did
We've got
start
about
late.
7 minutes.
Okay. I guess we got a 7 minutes. I don't know how you got that one. Anyway,
Looking at the
look
clock.
below. You can come and see more about us at our website, which is or Facebook. It's Taking the Journey Together on Facebook. Then you can go to Instagram. We have one there. Instagram, Taking the Journey Together. Coming back around again. Then we have our website, which is takingthejourney-together.com. Love to have you come there. You got any questions? Because we are a relationship coach. I know we talk about some hard things. Sometimes we talk about some soft things, but I'm saying to you, we really have information and knowledge that can help you move in your relationship to expand it
Mhm.
and to make it a relationship where you really are taking that journey together. Is not something you're just playing with and going through the same rituals
Yeah.
whatsoever. With that
And
expansion too of it, I don't mean to
mhm.
cut you off,
That's
then
okay.
you are able to actually build in your relationship. There
Yes.
are many projects she and I are doing. Though she comes along many times for the ride, she does a lot of helpful thing in the relationship in the projects we do. We've got so many we do, sometimes too many, because of my insecurity, anxiousness, always want to connect and make things happen. But they have been very adventurous. I think this is the most amount of things that she'll tell you she's did
Oh
in her
yeah.
lifetime being married for 30
Absolutely.
years.
Absolutely.
And it's the most amount of things
And
that
being
I
alive
did
for
in this
twice that
lifetime, I
much.
guess.
Yeah. And one of the things that you have said
Mm-hmm.
is, a lot of all the things that you have always wanted to do, you've had more success with them in
This
since we've been
relationship.
in this
Yes.
relationship.
Wow.
You
Yeah,
know,
very true.
so regardless, our purpose is to be a unit to make these things happen.
Oh, and we talked about that last time when it came to the bridge statements. Can you say to yourself, we are to be together?
Mm-hmm.
Can you then go to that route from your spirit or from your guide or from your God, which is that higher presence, that higher thought, the higher energy from the outside, and say that God is that spirit said we are also to be together.
Mm-hmm.
We believe that spirit, that God, that entity has sanctioned us to be together.
Yeah.
Because sometimes both ends you may have to go back to that purpose and say this is why we'll be together because you ain't really feeling it. And then sometimes, of course, and many times you'll need to always stand on the ground that says we are to be together.
Mm-hmm.
This is our purpose. And you're what you'll find in life. Many things will pop up in life to actually confirm that. When you're feeling out of place, you're feeling you're not connected, I guarantee you there are things that will happen in life that will come along. And really what happens, at least it's happened with us, is we'll have people we don't even know of who come up and talk to us and say, hey, you two, I know you've been together and I'm supposed to be, you know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah.
And that's after her and
Yup.
I may have had a knockdown fight where
Oh
we feel like,
gosh,
man, I
yes.
don't
It's
care
like
nothing about you whatsoever. And somebody will come out of nowhere like angels and say to us, yeah, you two are together.
hmm
You're supposed to, we ain't said nothing to them. We ain't tried to make them whatsoever. They are
Don't
able to
even know
see
them.
something that we are supposed to see, but
Hmm.
you can't see all the time.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
And kind of put us back on the right track. How's
Yeah.
that?
And that's one of the advantages, or one of the reasons why relationship coaching is so important,
Mm-hmm.
because when you are out of sorts, or your relationship is off kilter, sometimes it takes somebody else to show you what you're missing,
Yeah.
or what you have put away in a box someplace from the last argument that you had, or from the argument 16 years ago that you had.
Mm-hmm.
And that you pull out and shake off, well, you did this, that, and the other, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
know why. you know y- those things that keep coming up, sometimes you got to let them go, but you hold on to them as your security blanket, just so you can kind of push it up against the person.
Mm-hmm.
Just say, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
That just shows you you're not that great, because this was from some time back.
Mm-hmm.
And but with relationship coaching, you get an understanding as to how to deal with those things, and how to not only leave them in the box, but throw the box away.
Yeah, told about.
Completely get rid of the
There's a
box.
book that's written by this white cat, which I thought was pretty cool out of my many relationship books. It's called "Don't Sweat the Small
Small
Things."
stuff. Yeah.
That's small stuff. That's a book you ought to get too.
Yeah.
Not an easy thing to do in a
It
relationship.
is not.
A thriving relationship, that is definitely the high wire to get on, is not sweating the small things. We can sometimes eat big elephants in a relationship,
Oh.
no problem, swallowing our very dignity because we're keeping our pride.
Yeah.
But the smallest thing, we just like choke, cough, and belch and throw up all over
Exactly.
over very small
I
things.
can't get it out of, can't get it down my throat. Can't. Yeah.
Yeah, you move the chair over to the left. You've been doing that every night, and every time you do it, it just is bothering me. Try it on the left instead of the right.
Stop popping that gum. You know.
Well, you don't do the gum thing, but yeah, you do the chair thing. No, I'm just joking. Well, how much time we got left? Because we start late.
You know what? I think we are right at the end.
Okay, I don't know how you know that, but I guess you're looking at the time.
I'm looking at the time there.
Yeah, because we only have an hour, but we've already 15 or 10 minutes late.
We
so
missed a lot of that.
I hope everybody enjoyed it. We got below. Of course, you can hear us on WRUU 107.5. We've been there for a long time.
On Saturday morning at 9 o'clock.
Exactly. We're going to have a guest from a show called The Sisters one of these times. And she deals with life coaching. Not relationship coaching. We're going to be on the show. We're hoping to have her on the show, hoping to have her on this particular show too at the same time. So all I can say is enjoy yourself. Stay out of certain too many crowded places. COVID is still out there.
Stay out of Walmart without a mask.
Exactly. Wally World. Keep yourself safe. Make sure you eat plenty of fruits and vegetables and that water to keep yourself healthy. Hey,
even
we want to see you around.
You get sick.
God wants to see you around. Your parents want to see you around. Hopefully in your relationship, your mate wants to see you around. So keep doing that. God bless. Ashe. We will see you next time.
Week.
Oh, next week. Yeah.
Yes.
Take it away, engineer.
Like this.